When an elderly couple held a garage sale after selling their second home in the south of France, little did they know that they would become embroiled in a legal battle worth millions of euros at stake. The 88-year-old man and his 81-year-old wife, who are identified by their initials in court documents, but have been confirmed to CNN as Mr. and Mrs. Fournier by their lawyer, listed for sale an ancient African mask, which had been inherited from Mr. Fournier's grandfather. The grandfather, René Victor Edouard Maurice Fournier, had served as a colonial governor in Central Africa during the early 20th century, when significant parts of the continent were under French colonial rule. The Fourniers sold their mask in September 2021 to a second-hand dealer for 150 euros. That's equivalent to 24,000 bob. According to their lawyer, Frederic, the two were unaware of the mask's market value and they believed the dealer was offering a fair price. 150 euro, chukwa. After all, it's some piece of African thing. A few months later...
That wasn't written, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
A few months later, their lawyer said they learned through a newspaper article that their old mask was being auctioned off and that it was worth substantially more than what the dealer had paid. 2 days later, it sold for 4.2 million euros. A sale receipt shared with CNN showed. Okay. They sold it for 150 euros. 2 days later, it sells for 4.2 million euros.
Your engine fits not.
No. They launched a civil case against the dealer, which they lost in the fall of 2022, and they were ordered to pay court costs. You brought a case, in fact, to pay that guy. Now, they are appealing the earlier court decision, claiming the dealer failed in his obligation to provide pre-contractual information and committed a breach of consent. Okay. They are seeking to annul the sale of the mask and they want the auction's proceeds to be given to them. As the appeal commenced at the tribunal in southern France last Tuesday, the Gabonese government has now come in and said,
excuse me,
they are requesting a suspension of these proceedings. The dealer's defense, according to court documents, maintains that he was unaware of the value of the mask when he purchased it from the couple, only discovered it once he went to the auction house to have it appraised. Court documents show that his lawyer argued that the sellers have no grounds for claiming the error. They themselves offered the item for sale at 150. They made an inaccurate economic assessment of the value of what they were selling.
They did not make any assessment.
Gabon now has come in. Gabon has filed a separate court case for the handling of stolen goods. And they're accusing Fournier's ancestor of having stolen the Ngil mask and therefore never being its rightful owner.
It was not their family mask again.
Gabon has come and said,
it's ours.
You stole it from...
Even Fournier stole it from Gabon.
Yeah. So all of you handled stolen goods.
Give us our mask.
We need our mask. Right. If the court accepts its petition to suspend the current legal proceedings on the sale of the Ngil mask, the country will be able to pursue their separate case for the handling of stolen goods and fight for the mask to be returned to the country of origin. The mask is an extremely rare artifact of great spiritual value to the Gabonese people.
Why haven't they brought this matter up before?
Thank you, my brother.
They didn't know it existed.
They didn't know that the mask... What do they mean?
They didn't know that the Fourniers had this thing
missing.
in their garage.
They didn't know it was missing.
Oh, they know. Very many things have been missing.
So they didn't know that Fournier... I think you actually like saying Fournier.
Yeah. It does. The thing is, they didn't know that Fournier had stolen this thing from them and that he was keeping it and handing it over to his
How do you know Fournier had stolen it? Just because they've said he stole it.
Just because we had it doesn't mean it's
this
stolen.
man
there are no receipts of him buying it.
No, he was a colonial boss.
Ancestors, but
yes, people gave gifts. Sure. When you give gifts to even chiefs, do they give a receipt for the gifts they've received?
So that's the thing.
This was the previous century. I'm saying we do not know with any great accuracy how it is he acquired this mask.
Yeah.
We only know that he acquired it.
Yeah.
Do you know the people that's turning everybody's eye now?
It is of great...
Of course it is. There's some Gabonese officials whose eyes are popping out right now.
It is great spiritual value to the Gabonese people.
Oh, Naso.
Okay.
And
government officials
and their Gabonese culture, they do not gift such things of great spiritual value
to
non-Gabonese people.
When was Fournier in Gabon? 19 what?
Oko, the beginning of the 20th century.
Early
yeah.
20th century.
So the gentleman who's speaking is probably third generation Leo.
Yeah.
And he's an expert on this spiritual and
Oh,
cultural
yes,
things.
of course he is.
I am
It can
Kenyan.
also be spiritually seen by 4.2 million euros.
Let me tell you something. 4.2, you cannot get more spiritual than 4.2 million euros. That thing, my friend, it's transcendent.
It's catapult you to
No,
heaven.
they want it. They don't want the money.
Of course not.
City, stop laughing at the quest by African governments and people to have their artifacts returned to them.
Bro, it's like this.
No. When artifacts were returned to Kaya Bombo, to the Kaya the other day, did you hear those who were there telling the government those things that have come back from America?
Okay, did you hear Fournier's name being mentioned in that name?
No. Because those Fourniers of America returned those things.
No.
This Fournier of France is selling this thing. Kwanzaa selling it for 150. How can you sell a very prized spiritual piece at
Can I just-
150?
okay.
150.
You see
Fine.
this Fournier in south of France with his 150, plus the Gabonese official calling now somewhere from Libreville. Everybody shouting. It is the money that's disturbing everybody right now.
The people of Gabon
Okay.
want justice.
Eric, can I just ask a question?
You ask.
Yeah, you see this spiritual artifact, the one which puts all spiritual things into perspective. I'm certain that the museum in Libreville must have an equivalent, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it can't have been just one mask produced,
No,
and I'm
it's
sure
very-
they have
it's
kept
very-
it.
These things were
Unlikely.
stolen. The museum in Libreville does not have anything. All
They-
those
they
things
stole
are sitting-
everything.
They are in garages in south of France and such other places. And if these guys were selling it for 150, they just kept it somewhere there.
If it's a mask,
Keeping our God somewhere, you go just
They must-
and
Have you-
few other things and selling it for 150. What
so
kind of?
essentially, what I hear you to be saying is
Desecration.
that no, not in desecration. Eric is actually telling us that the human rights of this God was abrogated.
Yes, completely.
Is it God rights?
This is desecration of a people's culture.
So who now they should actually hold this thing.
The Gabonese are saying, first of all, halt all those proceedings. Did you who sold what? We don't want
to
Number
know,
one,
first of all of you are
that
handling
thing belongs to
stolen goods.
us. Let it come back to us.
Then we can
Okay?
deal.
And then now we can charge these people with handling stolen goods.
Alimma,
So,
I've understood.
you don't tell me these Fournier people did not hear all these years that Africans are looking for their
For
artifacts.
the artifacts.
And they're negotiating with governments, with
Then you now,
France,
you just
with
went
Benin,
to-
and you've been keeping our thing in a garage somewhere.
Eric, let me just tell you a story in a minute. Long before we banned hunting, killing leopards, tigers, and all such animals in Kenya, one of the most fashionable things somebody could have was a handbag with a leopard skin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know because my late mother had several such handbags. Now, it came as a bit of a shock to me now when it was banned, and these things had been bought, receipted, and everything, that it wasn't just that. Animal skins were considered fashionable, okay? The ban came in, suddenly that handbag would stay in a cupboard to just leave it where it is. It now formed this spiritual component that you
Became an
say.
artifact.
Yeah, artifact. Something you just look at and say it exists, and that's it. Maybe it's my children now who can be told, this was okay in the day. I get. People are killing these animals and turning them into business. I understand.
Yes.
This story of artifacts, we will talk about it, and we'll look for the curator of the museums, this national, bring him, they in, so that they can discuss with us these things, that we can understand exactly how we look at these things, how we value these things, so that we know. So that next time Gabon loses an artifact, we will know exactly.
Next time, Fournier.
Some
What's
Fournier
to sell?
imagine some Fournier comes up there with one of those Vikorogozi of our coastal people.
Yeah.
And they're auctioning it at ngapi 15. No.
Or like now, Festax head from Nigeria.
Imagine.
The bronze head.
And you just holding it like this and saying no.
50.